Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Saturday, September 4th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Moore. The Oregon game is in 7 days. The game against Michigan in 84 days. The first full Saturday of the college football season is today, but the Buckeyes turned their homework in early, so they have the weekend off. They knocked off Minnesota 45-31 on Thursday night in Minneapolis. On Friday morning, you heard Buckeye Scoop's Kevin Noon and myself with our thoughts on the game, but today I wanted to let you hear from the Buckeyes themselves. We got a chance to talk to Ryan Day, Stroud, Miyan Williams, among others, after the game, and it was really interesting to contrast the concern you saw from Ohio State fans on Twitter and our message board and everywhere else with the demeanor of Day and the players themselves during those interviews. They weren't completely thrilled with everything, and nothing went perfectly. They recognized that. There's room for improvement, but there was not a ton of concern, which is kind of interesting. Day talked about the fact that the result that they got on Thursday night was basically what he expected, especially playing a team loaded with younger players against a veteran Minnesota team.
Really proud of the way our team played in the second half, and especially, in that fourth quarter. I thought that we learned a lot from this experience. To say that I'm surprised with the way it played out, I'm not. We played a lot of young guys on the road, conference game. First time playing with fans in a long time. Quarterback who hadn't thrown a college pass before. But the way we rallied and played, especially in that second half, we got a lot to build on here, and very excited coming out of that locker room. I thought we came out on offense that one drive, hit that big that big run, which was great, and jump up early, and then Noah gets that field goal, which obviously you want 3 points. I mean, you want a touchdown, but we get 3 points, and then it's hard when the time of possession goes the other way with Minnesota. I mean, they do a great job. PJ does a really good job, and they play complementary football. And there was a point there in the second quarter where we just couldn't seem to get the ball back, couldn't get off the field on defense, and so there were some new guys in there feeling it out, and sometimes runs, instead of going for 1 or 2, they went for 3 or 4, and they stayed on schedule, hit some passes. And then it took a little while, I think, for us to get in a rhythm on offense with CJ. But, that's his first game ever. I mean, that was his first pass. It was the first play of the game, ever. So there's a lot going on there. And so when you go into situations like that, that it may be a little bit murky early on, and that's what happened.
One thing that I think struck a lot of Ohio State fans as a little bit odd was how many players the Buckeyes rotated through, especially on defense.
Yeah, I got to look at the film and see. They ran the ball really well and controlled the game a little bit. So we'll look at it. But like you said, there was a lot of guys who played a lot of football. So we have an opportunity now. We recruited a lot of young players, and we lost those 4 linebackers. And because of that, and you could see that we played, we matched some personnel a little bit differently this game. And now we're going to have to go back and assess and really get a feel for that, because when you're going in scrimmages and practice, you get a good feel for things, but you don't really know until you get into a game. And I think it's going to sort itself out a little bit, but we do like playing depth, and guys who deserve to play are going to. It's close. We have a lot of depth, and so we're playing a lot of depth right now. And maybe it sorts out a little bit differently as we watch the film and guys solidify some spots. But until then, it was really close in a lot of positions, and we'll have to look at it and see if maybe we need to have a little more continuity in certain positions. But when it was that close, guys deserve to play, then we're going to play, depth. And I think that's going to serve us well, certainly down the road. I think, when you start with maybe a non-conference game and, you can get some guys into the game in the second half, it's a little different when you start with a conference game. And we knew that coming in. The whole goal here was to go 1-0, and now the next goal is to go 2-0. And then we come up for air and figure out what's next, because it was a one-game season here, and we didn't care what the score was. And it's going to be the same thing next week. And then we'll kind of come up for air and figure it all out.
Day, as you are undoubtedly aware, was a former college quarterback himself at New Hampshire. And he coached the quarterbacks when he got to Ohio State back in 2017. So he has a lot of experience with guys making their first ever starts at the position. He said that he told CJ Stroud that it was important not to go into the game thinking that he knew what was going to happen.
You don't just walk out at Ohio State at quarterback and it just, you go out there and throw 3 or 4 touchdown passes and call it a day in this conference. Minnesota's a very good team. PJ does an excellent job. That's a very well coached, hard playing team. And going on the road is not easy in this conference to get wins. And so it doesn't just happen. And, I think for him, there was a lot of things he was doing for the first time. And when that happens, it takes some time. Now, you got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, there were a couple times where things weren't really going well. He missed some passes, but he fought through it. And he and I had a conversation early on that we're going to keep swinging no matter what happens. And we're not going to play it close to the vest. That's not the way we do it here. And he responded. But I think really it was the guys around him. I think when you look at the defensive score that we got, that was huge. But then the guys up front, Chris, Garrett, I mean, those were big plays. And then obviously the play with Trey down on that third down was big. I told him early on there's no expectations going in. You might throw 4 interceptions, you might throw 4 touchdowns. I don't know what's going to happen. Again, you don't just, I know everyone thinks you just walk out there and you're going to, throw for 300 yards and a bunch of touchdowns. It doesn't just work that way. There's a lot of things for a young quarterback to process who has never played. I wish last year that we had those 7 games that we didn't play where he had played, 150 to 200 snaps and thrown the ball. He didn't have any of that. Not one snap. I shouldn't say not one snap. He had a few snaps, but not one pass. Just a couple plays here and there. So usually this is a very unique situation for somebody who has really zero experience to go into a conference game on the road like this against a good team. I mean, this is a team who was top 10 in the country before last year. So, but yeah, very, very impressed with the way he just kept swinging.
Right behind him, Bill.
For his part, Stroud said that this was not only his first college start, but the first time he'd really been hit in 2 years. So it was a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, man, I think I haven't played football in like 2 years and got tackled in 2 years. So yeah, I felt that one a little bit, but I'm okay. I'm good.
Stroud said he knew coming into the game that things were not all going to go just completely perfectly, and that he had to do a good job of managing his emotions when things didn't go the way he wanted them to.
I mean, in the game of football, you have your ups and downs. I mean, everything doesn't go the way it's supposed to. I mean, I felt in the first half, I just my mind wasn't right. I mean, I was kind of all over the place a little bit. So I mean, talking to my teammates, praying a lot, just trying to lock back in. And I mean, I don't feel like I did terrible, but I mean, I definitely didn't do as best as I could. I mean, everything that we called was great. It's just, I mean, some things just don't go the way you want them to, and that's kind of was the first half. I mean, the time of possession was kind of crazy. I mean, they held the ball, so I feel like we were off the field for a while in the first half. I mean, kind of got cold in there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's raining sideways, and I mean, so like I feel like that had to do with it a little bit, but I mean, we got the win. I mean, yeah, I mean, I have great teammates, but I think I'm a great player too. I mean, maybe the first half didn't show that, but I know I did my best in the second, and I feel like I did really good in the second. I mean, like I said, in the game of football, you have ups and downs, and they believe in me, you know what I'm saying? So they put me in a situation to get them the ball, and I mean, that's a big opportunity for me. That's a big task, so I feel like I did that.
Last year, the Ohio State defensive line was not happy with how often they got to the quarterback. They only had 2 sacks on Thursday, but they made them count. One of them especially was a strip sack by Zach Harrison, who forced a fumble that Haskell Garrett then recovered and ran in for a touchdown. Here's Harrison's description of what happened on that play.
I just got off the ball and used my hands, used my technique, and bend the edge and saw the quarterback, and I was like, I'm going to just hit him and try to get the ball out. And I did that, and bro scored it. So.
What was Jay teaching you guys to go for the ball, go to try to hit the quarterback?
He always says sacks are good, but strip sacks change the game. You know, we as a D-line, we take that to heart. You know, in practice, but we're always working every time we come around the edge, just swipe at the ball, swipe at the ball, swipe at the ball, and it was just second nature, just kind of muscle memory at that point.
You might remember that Garrett had a pick 6 last year at Michigan State, so he's now scored on both an interception and a fumble return in just the last 5 games. That is pretty remarkable for a defensive tackle. He was asked, so what's your secret?
I mean, really, it's just in the right place at the right time. And, you know, when my number was called, I was just there. And I wouldn't have done what I did without this guy. So, I mean, it just shows that, you know, big dudes can run. And we got nimble feet nowadays. You know, not back in the day, it used to just be big and just plug up space. But I think there's an evolution of linemen that are athletic and we can run, so.
Miyan Williams got the night off to a huge start for Ohio State with a 71-yard touchdown run on the Buckeyes' opening possession. After the game, though, he said, actually, he ran the wrong play there.
To be honest, it was actually the wrong play. It was the wrong play, but, I mean, it was just crazy.
How was it wrong?
I was supposed to go the other way.
So do you have to change the playbook now and set it up that way? It seems like
nah, we just got to fix it in practice.
Why did you switch then?
I mean,
the wrong way?
I was just in the rush trying to get the ball snapped.
Miyan Williams was not the only running back with a long touchdown. Trey Henderson had a 70-yard score on a screen pass in the second half. Williams said that was just a small example of what they've already seen is Henderson's big playability.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He definitely had some more crazy plays in camp, definitely. But, yeah, when I seen him, I was like, yeah, he going to get him one.
The Buckeyes' next opponent, Oregon, plays Fresno State at 2 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. So if you are one of the fortunate few who gets that channel, you can do a little early scouting on the Ducks. But there are also a couple monster games in the Big Ten today as well. Penn State visits Wisconsin at noon on Fox. Iowa hosts Indiana at 3:30 on Big Ten Network. And then, of course, tonight, Georgia and Clemson playing in what should be an absolutely fantastic game. It should just be a great day of college football all around. And then it should be an incredible week now leading up to the Buckeyes and Ducks playing next Saturday at the Horseshoe. It is a game that I think everyone was excited for last year. Didn't happen. This year, now it finally is happening. Crowds back in the Horseshoe this Saturday. Should be a full house. Having been at that Minnesota game, it was amazing how different it felt with bands and cheerleaders and fans. And it finally felt like college football was back for the first time, basically since 2019. It was a lot of fun at Minnesota on Thursday night, and it is probably going to be a lot of fun Saturday in the Horseshoe as well. So hopefully you guys can all enjoy that. But one thing you can definitely enjoy is all the coverage and all of the excitement in the lead up to that game at BuckeyeScoop.com. We've got a fantastic team of insiders. We have a ton of content. We just added Kevin Noon to our team, as you probably have figured out by now. But we have a ton of people giving you all sorts of coverage, covering this game, the lead up to this game in every possible angle. This is a monster game, one of the biggest non-conference games you can remember in Ohio State, at least in Ohio Stadium in the last 10 years or so. I mean, this is going to be a monster game, and a fantastic time to become a member of BuckeyeScoop.com to be able to enjoy this week, know as much as you can going into that game, and be able to make the most of the most wonderful time of the year, which is right now when we are just getting ramped up into college football season. So do make sure you check out BuckeyeScoop.com. Also, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit that bell if you want to, or hit the little circle with the Buckeye Scoop logo that's going to come up at the end of this video. What that'll do is that'll subscribe you to our channel. Then you get notified every time we post a new video. We post a ton of podcasts, player, coach interviews, pregame shows, postgame shows, lots of high school coverage, high school highlights, interviews with players who are, being recruited by the Buckeyes, and so much more. That's at youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. Subscribe, and you get notified every time I post a new video, so you never miss a thing. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. Enjoy the football, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.